Alright, what's going on, guys? Hope you all are doing well. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be an ultimate guide for Vanguard Zombies. Now, immediately, something you need to know about this game, the map you're going to be playing, most likely, first of all, Duranfang, is not actually a, traditional zombies map. This is a mode that is going to be continually updated as we go on. But, all of the fundamentals about this particular mode are going to be covered in this video. Exactly how it works, how to progress, how to upgrade your perks, weapons, pack-a-punch, stuff like that. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. This guide is going to cover all of the fundamentals you need to know in order to keep progressing through Duranfang, and eventually when this mode gets its main Easter egg released, or multiple main Easter eggs, go and get those as well. So before we get started, I am going to be giving away a couple of copies of Call of Duty Vanguard to you guys, so whether you want it for yourself if you don't own the game yet, or give it to a friend to play along with, then make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe also if you're new to the channel, and make sure to leave a comment with your platform and your name down below in the comment section, and if you win, I will reply to your comment and I will reach out to you over on Twitter to get you your game. But anyways, this mode can be very jarring if you just first load it up. Maybe you haven't played zombies in a long time, or perhaps you're brand new to the game of Call of Duty in general, and you're just jumping into zombies for the first time. What things can you do, tips and tricks to improve, and just generally how the game works? Well, let's get started. So first things first, we've got to set you up with tools for success. So we're going to go into your settings and change a couple of different things that are really going to help out your experience. Now, first and foremost, I do recommend changing your sensitivity and your button layout to whatever you personally prefer. There's no one best answer, but what I am going to recommend is if you are playing a controller, change your aim response curve type to either linear or dynamic. It's going to be on standard on launch. Change it to one of these two, as the standard is way too sticky. This will cause you to collide with zombies that you absolutely shouldn't, and these ones are a lot more reasonable. Also, completely turn off weapon fire threshold. This has on some guns, and in order to be more realistic, there's a little bit of a trigger delay, and that comes off in your controller. Just literally turn that off. Other than that, however, there's a lot of specific little details that you can also fine tune with your stick if you are playing on controller again as well. Now, these aren't completely necessary. You should always be on playing what's most comfortable for you. You can go into a match and test it out as well. Another thing you'll absolutely want to change is the field of view. You can fine tune this to your very liking. I usually go for 105 myself, but you can max it out if you want as well. It's really no problem. Also, make sure you completely disable both world motion blur and also weapon motion blur. I don't know how it's 2021 and game developers still think motion blur on default in video games is a good idea, but definitely make sure to disable them. After that, there's not much you need to do in your settings necessarily, but go ahead and sift through them once over and just make sure everything's correct. But now you're ready to jump into game. So when you load it for the first time into Duranfang, you're going to choose your loadout and also your preferred artifact. Now, the ones that returning from Cold War are Ether Shroud, Ring of Fire, Energy Blast, and also Frost Mine. So you can use whatever you like in this mode and pick that immediately. A much more streamlined and simplified version from Cold War, and you're going to spawn into what is basically a central hub. Now, you can find a variety of things to interact with, all marked very clearly by the in-game icons and also on the top left in your minimap, but we'll come back to what all those mean in a second. Really, the only thing you can do immediately from spawn is interact with one of the portals that will take you to currently one of 3 objectives, and again, these are going to be updated in the future, so there's going to be a more variety of objectives and also maps, but currently there are 3 on launch. So the ones that we have, I'm going to go through all of them and how they work. The first one is Blitz, and this is basically a very standard holdout sort of style of gameplay. Now, the interesting thing is it right now only starts out at 40 seconds when you're on level 1, but the higher you get into the rounds, not only are the difficulty of the zombies going to increase, and you're also going to get more special enemies and things like that, but the time will also be extended that takes for you to survive. So as far as doing this particular challenge, the only thing you need to do is hold out and not die until the end of the 40 seconds, and then you're going to be extracted back to the original center hub that you got. You're going to be awarded points, scrap, which is also condensed down and simplified from Cold War into only one kind of scrap, and additionally, the armor system and also all of the items and score streaks on the crafting table will also be crafted using that single new kind of scrap. Now, regardless of what objective you just said, you're going to be teleported back to the central hub in Stalingrad, and you're going to be given a sacrificial heart. You can see this at the bottom left, the number indicated by the farthest right icon on just above your health bar. Now, this can be used at the Altar of Covenants. Now, what these are basically an extension of the perk system. Every time you complete an objective, you get a sacrificial heart, and you can use these to purchase extra upgrades at the Altar of Covenants, and you can hold 3 at a time. These will increase in rarity and effectiveness as the rounds go on. Now, remember, every time you do an objective, go back and check the Altar of Covenants because they randomize every single time. There's a good good chance the next rarity that you need to get, like purple or orange, will be up next, and it will cost an extra sacrificial heart for each upgrade. So basically orange is going to cost 3 and purple are going to cost 2, and so on. Now let me quickly take apart exactly how the perk system has been adjusted in Vanguard Zombies and what things you need to look out for. Now as of right now, there are 5 zombie perks in Vanguard, and these include Speed Cola, Deadshot, Juggernog, Quick Revive, and last but not least, the homie Stamina Up. Now one thing I'm going to say is actually objectively better in my opinion about Vanguard Zombies than Cold War. All of the perks in this game are progressible within the match itself. So in Cold War, you had to gather Ethereum crystals to upgrade it in your menu to bring it back in game. And I'm not really a fan of this sort of mode for a lot of reasons. You can do all of your upgrading within the match itself, so you don't have to grind for a long time to be better in the game. You can do it from day one. Essentially, your first purchase of every perk from the beginning of the game is completely free, so you can get tier 1 with no cost. However, to upgrades to up to tier 4, those are going to cost a significant amount of essence. And just as a basic rundown, what all the perks do: Juggernog will increase your health capacity, obviously. Quick Revive is going to increase the amount of speed that it takes to revive a teammate, but also will allow you to heal faster, just your regular HP. Stamina Up, of course, allows your base movement speed to be faster. Speed Cola allows your reload speed to be quicker. And then finally, Deadshot makes your headshot or critical hits multiplier significantly higher. So the perks themselves are incredibly important, and you are certainly going to want to upgrade these. As the season goes on, I can imagine a lot of perks, possibly from Cold War, will also be implemented into this mode. But the perk system might throw a little bit of people off at first, but it really isn't too hard to understand. Basically, every single base perk is free, and then upgrades cost money at that point. But other than that, they are very effective. So the next objective you can possibly get is Transmit. Now, this is a very, basic escort step. If you've ever played Outbreak in Cold War, this works essentially like a cleaner and more fun version of escort because there's just less dead time in between. Essentially, in this objective, you just need to walk with an ether orb as it goes throughout its path, and you can tell exactly its progress bar on the left side to see how far it's gone. Now, you do need to basically just cover yourself. They're not going to attack the orb itself, but in order for this to even move at all, you've got to be fairly close to it. And if you're playing solo, this can certainly be a pain. In co-op, it's a little bit more manageable. Some tips I have for this one, especially if you're playing solo: bring in Ether Shroud, and that can buy you at least a good couple of seconds on the orb to get it out of a weird or tight spot. Some of the maps or locations you'll get in doing this one are certainly harder than others. Ring of Fire doesn't really help too much in this one. Frost Blast and Energy Mine, however, are surprisingly good calls here, but at the end of the day, I still do think Ether Shroud is top notch here. In most cases, the goal will be to take this Ether Orb from one side of the map to the other, or the region or area that you're in, and most of the time, this one isn't too bad. However, it can be a very hard challenge on high rounds, so be mindful of that. Now, after you've done a couple objectives and you come back to the central hub, you'll be able to interact with Pack-a-Punch. Also, in the game, every gun that you get out of a zombie or falls on the ground will either be white, blue, purple, or orange. There are no longer weapon rarities like there were in Cold War from loadout all the way up to legendary. However, there are still the streamlined 3 tiers of Pack-a-Punch, and that's what the colors represent. White is unpack-a-punched, blue is once pack-a-punched, purple is twice, and then legendary is of course 3 times. Interestingly, base Pack-a-Punch is 7,500 in this game, where it usually is 5,000 traditionally in every other Zombies game. However, for tier 2 and tier 3, it's still going to be 15 and 30,000 respectively. So that means in this mode, you really want to be parsing out exactly in particular how you want to go about upgrading your weapons and your perks, which ones you want to do first. Generally speaking, I think it's better to upgrade your weapons and then get your perks as support, but you can do this and strategize however you feel fit. Now, the third objective you might get in this mode is arguably the hardest one and possibly the most interesting one. This is sort of a cross between the holdout and also the transport we just did. This allows you to collect runes that are randomly generated after killing zombies. You can hold 5 at a time, and you need to deliver 5 runes each to this tower that's going to shift locations wherever you happen to be at. This one can be a little bit strange because there's no way to guarantee after killing zombie if you're going to get a runestone, but I would say it usually takes no longer than 30 seconds to get all 5 for each one if you're killing fast and efficiently. so it's not like you're going to be waiting around for a long time to get them, but you also have to safely transport them into the pillar, and this is a lot easier said than done depending on the map you get. A couple tips I have for you in this particular challenge. First of all, runes can only be deposited while you're facing the pillar, so you cannot turn around while also you're holding down the button to deposit them. I'm hoping they change this at some point in the future. I think that could be like ameliorated with a little hotfix, but you do need to be facing the podium in order to deposit all of the rune stones. Also, Molotovs are extremely effective in this mode, and you can use this to like basically kill an entire horde of zombies at once, and more often than not, all 5 rune stones will appear literally from one piece of equipment, and because they all just died and they're all respawning, you'll also have a very ample amount of time to go and place the rune stones as well. So this one is all about smart play and efficiency. Now, there will be a meta that emerges because right now there's really no one best way currently to approach all of these different challenges. And I would also say eventually there is going to be a meta with the Covenant system too, but we haven't got there at that point in the game yet. Right now, you can pretty much just feel free to experiment with whatever you like and whatever your style is of playing the game. Now, when it comes to Altar of Covenant recommendations, once you start to get into the high rounds, there's a few in particular that I really like and would gravitate towards, those being the Cryo Freeze upgrade, another one being the Dead Accurate upgrade, which deals successively more damage each bullet you hit on the same enemy. When legendary, that one is completely broken. And the other one that allows your storaged weapon to be reloaded in your back pocket, very similar to the Mule Kick upgrade in Cold War. This one is absolutely phenomenal. A very important tip when it comes to general gameplay in Vanguard, headshots are more important than ever. I thought Cold War was very prevalent and like you need to go for headshots in order to be effective. Vanguard is that like times 10. Currently, the game is so new, so we just don't have a developed meta right now for like what are the best loadouts at the moment, so I'm going to be working on that as I play the game. Once you made it to this point in the match, you have the choice to either just play for as high rounds as possible and open up all of the map, and then as this mode gets updated, ideally this is going to be added with a main Easter egg that you can go and do once you've gotten to a high enough round. And it also seems like in the future there's going to be more areas that open up and unlock as you keep progressing through the game, so it looks like this is starting out in this sort of mode it is currently, but it seems like they're going to try and make the progression continue deep into the high rounds. Now, let's say you and your squad want to end your game early or just want to pull out of the match at any point. You can go up to this fountain in the middle of the hub, and then you can initiate the exfil using this. Now, this one works a little differently than Cold War's exfil. You basically need to obviously kill zombies in a correct amount of time to unlock the exfil, but you don't get picked up by a helicopter. You need to escape through a portal that does have a time limit. However, this portal can quite literally spawn anywhere in the hub, and it will guide to you eventually. It's not open from the get-go, so you have to be careful about that. Exfilling on a high round, anywhere past, I would say, 11 to like 13 or 14 is like low-key sort of hard, so I do recommend making a lot of equipment and like craftables over at the table before you do this. It's incredibly easy to get overran your first time exfilling if you're not sure what you're doing. I definitely died on my first time through trying to exfil on round 12 without really thinking about it. And as far as that goes, that's essentially what Duranfang right now has to offer in terms of all of its main features. Again, these are going to be updated and continued as we go throughout the season of Vanguard, but right now it seems like this is all to the mode currently. It's a shame that this like had to come out so early. As you can clearly tell, this didn't have enough game development time to really be fleshed out, or at least what it should have had on launch, but it's going to be having a main Easter egg and plenty other objectives probably during season 1. So what I think I'm going to do is in the future when the mode updates pretty dramatically and it's like actually not really the same as it was on launch, I'm going to make a updated ultimate guide for people that are just jumping into the game, and it's like fundamentally different at this point. But right now, this is going to be for everybody who's just jumping into Vanguard and wants to know exactly how to play this new zombies mode, because it is sort of overwhelming / confusing at first. But nonetheless, I hope this did help, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video regardless. Also, I will have some best weapon guides very soon. It's just too early to tell right now exactly what the best gun is, and as I discover the meta, I'll be putting together a list of the best pack-punched weapons that you can use in this mode, and then also just Cold War zombies more generally. But anyways, that's gonna be it for the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I also stream zombies on Twitch if you don't follow me. Link to that is down below. But have a great rest of your day, guys, and I will see you all on the next live stream or the next video. Take it easy. I'm gonna go. Peace out.